Before I start, I should warn you that I do have a sensitive side. And when Annette was growing up, and we watched a film together as a family, and if we ever got to a sentimental part, Annette, Claire and Michelle would all turn to me and wait for the tears to start flowing. Something like Mary Poppins was quite a roller coaster. And there is a danger that during this speech that I may go, and if I start to crumble before you, then what I need is a big round of applause. That'll spare my humiliation, and it'll, break the silence. I'll start by just thanking you all for coming today to help us celebrate this great day for Simon and Annette. Really good. This is how to do a speech. I'll start by thanking Steve and Margaret for raising the perfect husband for my daughter. And along with Steve and Margaret, I'd like to thank Mark and Asma, Katie and Graham, Lola and Alfie for making Annette so welcome into their family. I know she loves being with you and she always feels at home, so thank you very much. I should also thank Annette's mum, Michelle, and her sister Claire, because they helped to make Annette into the woman she is today. It wasn't easy. Annette was born on the 10th of March 1986, and like Claire, we'd already had a daughter, so we thought we know what it's going to be like when the next one's born and what she'll be like as a toddler. We were wrong, and just like Claire, she was a week late, and Michelle was eventually called into the hospital to be induced, and for 24 hours nothing happened, and then everything happened all at once, and Michelle just made it to the delivery room, and as she was being swung onto the maternity bed, Annette was launched. Fortunately, the midwife fielding at mid-on. Maybe it was a sign of things to come with Annette as a toddler, where Claire had always been really happy, sitting in the, and she still is, sitting in the middle of the floor, stacking beakers for hours on end. Annette had a more sort of creative and exciting approach to toddlerhood. If something was taller than her, it was for climbing on. If she was in a cot wasn't for sleeping in, it was for climbing out of. If we were ever anywhere near water, and you turned your back for a minute, there'd be a spladoosh and a faint cry from Annette. Michelle very quickly learned to carry a spare change of clothes with her at all times. She's probably got one with her now. By the age of 2, Annette was cycling. Why walk when you can ride? And the summers I remember of Annette as a toddler is me up a ladder with a tin of paint, painting the house. And there's Annette and Claire and Chessie cycling round underneath the ladder. Me gripping onto the ladder as they head towards the bottom of it. Hello. Annette enjoyed primary school, and she made lots of friends, many of whom are here now. And with those friends, in due course, she moved on to secondary school. By that stage, Annette had a clear philosophy of life, and it had 2 clear strands. First of all, friends and family are the most important thing. Secondly, why make an effort unless you really have to? Why get out of bed to switch the telly on when you can reach it with a really long stick? And she kept the stick under her bed. As some of you know, I taught at Annette's secondary school, and to some extent this is a bit like giving, when I look around here, it's a bit like giving an assembly 15 years ago. Sorry, I'm just finding where I'm up to. Yeah, and I remember a time, no, I won't say that bit. Music was a big part of Annette's life in secondary school. She was already taking piano lessons, and then she took up the saxophone at secondary school. Piano lessons were always very exciting because she didn't start practicing until 10 minutes before the lesson, and the lesson was about 5 miles away, it was always a challenge getting her there. But it did have the side effect that she became extremely good at sight reading. With the saxophone lessons were done through school, and we paid for those lessons. Essentially, at the start of the year, we fork out a few £100, and she'd have a series of lessons through the year. And it was great, and she played for many years in the school bands with some people who are here now. And then at the end of year 10, we got the report, and the report said, unable to report any progress this year, as Annette has not attended any lessons. Annette didn't always keep us up to speed on this quest for excellence through little effort. Throughout her difficult teenage years, when they were too young to go to the pub, on a Friday and Saturday night, often the group of friends would gather at somebody's house. Sometimes they'd pick on us. And it was always a nerve-wracking experience going out and leaving Annette in charge. She was never the best at clearing up, but we came home one Friday or Saturday night, and she was looking concerned at the bottom of the stairs. And she said, I'm really sorry. I don't know how it happened, but the bathroom door came off in somebody's hand. And then she said, and the bed broke in half when Helen Cottle jumped on it. Now, for those of you who don't know Helen Cottle is about this size and weighs about 2 stone. So when she saw us looking a bit puzzled, she said, well, everybody else was on the bed at the time, but it was only when Helen Cottle jumped on top and it broke in half. Sometime later that year, I went into school one Monday morning, and the school office phoned me and said, we've got an irate former pupil at the office who wants to see somebody about some of our pupils. And so I went down to see who it was, and I think it was a girl called Michelle, and she was livid. So I took her into an office and I sat her down, and she said that she'd recently bought a house, and she'd been away for the weekend, and her younger brother had got a key from somewhere, and he'd invited all his friends round to have a party, and they'd wrecked the place. And she said, and here's a list of the people who were responsible. And it started Annette Allen, Michelle McKinnon, Georgina Conlon. They're all here. I just hope somebody's warmed the Whitworth. So I think I said something like, why isn't Helen Cottle's name on this list? And I said, really, it's got nothing to do with the school. So, but if I were you, I'd look for Emily McGibbon, because she's... I've never trusted Emily McGibbon since I made that corned beef sandwich in 1991, and she didn't like it. During sixth form college, Simon appeared on the scene, and I thought, he's a nice, smart-looking young man. I'm making that bit up, actually. But with Simon came with his friends, and there were slightly more exotic names now. There was Bordy, Ozzy, Lav, and Boghead. We call him Sam. And I remember going into the kitchen and finding Michelle with Annette looking at the photograph. And Michelle said something like, is that one Bongo? And Annette said, no, that's Greg. Well, which one's Bongo? There isn't a Bongo. There is no Bongo. I think there should be a Bongo, really. Like all parents, We're dead proud of our daughters. This is dangerous. Thank you. And we're really pleased that Annette's been so successful in her career. She loves the people she works with and she loves the job she does. But I think the thing we're most proud of is how normal she is. And, well, and finally I'm going to thank Simon for taking her off our hands. Because he certainly is the right man for the job. They've only been together for about 15 years. So they're starting to get used to each other. So I think I'd like you to all stand and join with me in a toast to Annette and Simon.